Hello to all the Atlanta United fans. My name is Jurgen Damm, and you are watching Scarves and Spikes, an Atlanta United podcast.
Welcome to the Scarves and Spikes, our Sunday review show, if you will. Sitting here with you, Tommy on his way in. Tyler a little bit under the weather tonight. He will not be able to join us for this episode. Jackson Popkin, though, joined us for this one. Jackson, how are you, man?
Always doing good. Yeah. Mixed feelings after last night. But get ready to get in and talk about it, and looking forward to next weekend.
Likewise, against Miami, who I don't know how Miami does it, but Miami was down to 10 again. So this is what the
goalkeeper dogs though.
Yeah, they've got a red card, I feel like, in every single MLS match. Ian Frey had his reversed, obviously, but I feel like there's kind of a recurring theme with them, but they still won. I mean, it's just
it's weird how they can. Miami is one of the few teams I've seen that can just get a result out of any circumstance or situation, and you can just never ever count them out, no matter what's thrown at them. It's like the universe has colluded to give Inter Miami the power to win everything and prove anyone who dares to doubt them wrong, as much as you maybe want them to.
Messi didn't even play that one either, so I mean that kind of adds to it. But of course, Miami coming into town next Sunday. We'll focus on that later on in the week during our Wednesday show. But tonight we want to talk about Atlanta United's scoreless draw against the New York Red Bulls. As Tommy joins us, had a little technical issues to start out the night, but he's with us.
Yeah, whatever. What's going on?
What's up? How are you?
I watched a 0-0 draw on a Saturday night. That's how I'm doing.
Yeah, great way to spend your Saturday night. No better place to be.
It was kind of interesting looking at the scores from off the other 7:30 kickoffs, because no match out of the 7:30 kickoffs had any goals in it. They're all scoreless.
Yeah, I think no first half goals.
Yeah, no first half goals
at the same time. Just zeros across the board. Just a great entertaining night for anyone who loves watching defensive soccer.
I know Kevin Egan, he was in South Africa for a friend's wedding, so he was on MLS 360. Max Bretas was filling in, so I kind of had that pulled up in the press box with the sound off, and I imagine Max and the crew had a pretty tough time dealing with the no goal situation up there in the studio in Connecticut. But Atlanta United again ending scoreless with the New York Red Bulls at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I guess let's kind of go around the horn to start out with, or before we do that, let's take care of some business. By the way, we want to start out, of course, by thanking our partner, Sweetwater Brewery, for their support of Scarves and Spikes. Really appreciate them. Go to sweetwaterbrewery.com. They brew the Rally Peach IPA, 420 Extra Pale, and more. Of course, the Sweetwater 420 Fest happening April 18th through 20 at Pullman Yards in Atlanta. Again, go to sweetwaterbrew.com for more information. Like, subscribe, share our content if you're watching on YouTube. Also, subscribe to our audio feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeart. Just search Scarves and Spikes. Of course, go to scarvesandspikes.com for all the latest Atlanta United news, analysis, opinion, and more. We'll be covering, of course, the Inter Miami match going up to Sunday. And, of course, patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. Support us there. Get Patreon or get Discord access. Starting at $1.17 a month. We have that tier, $5 a month, $10 a month as well. So plenty of ways you can get connected with Scarves and Spikes throughout the week when we are not on the air. With that said, now let's kind of go around the horn. Let's talk about just initial impressions of that scoreless draw against the Red Bulls. Somewhat of a buggy team for Atlanta United over the years. And again, Atlanta United unable to get 3 points out of that despite holding Red Bulls to no shots on goal throughout the night. So maybe Tommy, start with you. I guess what's your overall thoughts on what you saw from that scoreless draw that you watched on a Saturday night?
It's like the Charlotte game. You should have gone into the second half up possibly 1 or 2-0, and instead you go in tied, and then it's kind of it wasn't the same as the second halves, the other two first halves. Like there was that one moment where they skied it, they cooed it over the net, the Red Bulls, and that was like their only big chance. But everything else, it was like okay, it's I don't know, maybe it just wasn't as sloppy as it was, but there still was a huge part of it was I don't want the ball. You take it. No, you take it. And it was just going back and forth. It was like, well, somebody just take it and score a goal. And they're just, I know Ronnie keeps saying like they're not exhausted. Is it a mental exhaustion in the second half? If it's not a physical exhaustion, is it a mental one? Because the passes aren't connecting. They're just not even close to what they are in the first half at all. And that's what's frustrating. It's because it seems like they are all connected in the first half, and then they come back from halftime, and it's like, oh, it's nice to meet you. Where would you like me to pass? It's like they've never met in the second half, and it's extremely frustrating.
Yeah, I'm gonna set this as the dictionary definition of Red Bull's frustration. It may not be physical, it may not be mental, but just the frustration of playing Red Bulls. It's very deja vu. Every match, and luckily this one didn't end in a loss. And can you imagine that one shot? I think that hit off the crossbar. That second half goes in, and they bunker. Kind of if it was similar to Charlotte, if Red Bulls would have grabbed that goal and just laid back like that, I think we'd be coming in here a lot angrier, just a lot more upset if we would have seen a repeat of that. But to take the optimist's viewpoint here, you keep a clean sheet after giving up 2 goals in each of your previous 2 matches. I think that's big. I think, especially with the attack that Rebels have with Choupo-Moting, I think that Matt Edwards showed it was first half Matt Edwards for almost the entire game. I think we can. I saw a tweet as the lineup got posted where someone was talking about how they were worried about Matt Edwards starting again, and I think he proved a lot of people wrong, just because of those individual errors they had in Charlotte, and he proved a lot of people wrong last night, and especially getting involved in the attack. I think the Red Bulls' tactics kind of lent itself to allow Edwards to move higher up the pitch, but to see him getting involved and sending him some great crosses, giving Brooks a run for his money with his crossing ability was a big surprise and a welcome surprise, I think. But ultimately, you have to look at the 0 on Atlanta's side and just the amount of money and the value in this attack not finding the back of the net. I think last week I said my worry level was like a 2. I don't know if that might go up to a 3. We'll see. We'll see if, especially against Miami next week, if a third straight clean sheet. I'm not gonna try to speak it into existence, but that would be something.
Please don't. I mean, it's match 3. I mean, it's still a small sample size, but yeah, I'm not ready to like throw out the baby with the bathwater. Yes, Atlanta hasn't scored in his last 2 matches, which is worrying, especially with how much this attack was hyped. We talked about it with our 3 takeaways, myself, Tyler, and Henry after the match last night. We kind of were talking about the Atlanta. If these players were making a quarter of what this attack was making right now, we wouldn't really be having this conversation about oh my gosh, they can't score. And I mean that because the target is just so big on these guys' back. Latte Lat, MLS record signing $22 million. Miguel Almiron, you bring him back $10 million. Miranchuk, the amount of money he was worth, eight-figure sum that you needed, low 8-figure sum that you paid to get him in. Saba, you expect a lot of this team right off the bat, especially considering, again, how much they're making. So I've mentioned it before. With some players, it takes some time. With some players, when they come to MLS, it takes some time for them to get adjusted to things. It takes some time for them to build that chemistry to kind of get things flowing. Not everybody right off the bat can come in and dominate the league. We kind of thought that's what happened with Latte Lat when he scored that brace against CF Montreal. But, it's not really worked out as we had hoped. So I guess by and large, again, it's still 3 matches into the season. Now, if we get to match like 6, 7, 8, 9, if this is still going on, maybe you start to raise a lot more red flags, but probably not the time to worry too much, I think. But still, Jackson, you said Miami's coming in without Messi, and we talked about this again, 3 takeaways.
Maybe without Messi.
Well, maybe. Well, with or without
He's
him.
at least fit to be on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, even without him, you have Luis Suarez, you have Tadeo Allende, you have Segovia. They're 2 new signings who have really been on fire, especially Allende, scoring again in this match against Charlotte FC. So, we talked about Matt Doyle saying this may be a better Miami team than it was last year, which is scary. That being
defensively,
said,
for sure, though.
Defensively,
way better.
No, absolutely. I think that's kind of the point he was making too, right? Just both sides of the ball, just being an improved team. So
to be like 10 men Miami keeping a clean sheet against Charlotte, and Atlanta couldn't even keep a clean sheet with 11.
Right. Yeah. So and again, that's just another factor that you add to the equation. But the good news is maybe Atlanta's kind of been Miami's bogey team over the past few years. Maybe that happens again on Sunday. But I mean, let's talk about the attack as a whole. I mean, when do you start to worry? I guess when do you start to like throw up like the caution flags?
At the end of the month.
You guys think? End of the month.
You have your 2 games really, because you're losing a lot of players against Cincinnati in a couple weeks. But this Miami game could very well be the coming out game for this offense. They've done it before against Miami. That's how they gained all their momentum. I said this last week. They gained all their momentum at home when Messi didn't show and it was the whole pizza deal. The offense went nuts. And that catapulted them into the last part of the season, and they end up making the playoffs. It's close. It's close. And it's frustrating that it's that close and you're just not seeing it. Ronnie said that they've been together for 7 weeks, and I didn't go back and fact check to when it is. But then you think about Almiron. He came later. And then Latte Loth came later. So your main players, your 2 big ones, haven't been with the team very long at all. That's why I'm not worrying yet. And we've had people on Spaces, and I've seen people on the website saying, when you make this much money, you need to perform. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in any sport. Maybe the NBA, because it's just, you can single-handedly do what you need to do in the NBA. But when you look at, I hate keep using this response or this example. Back then it used to be stupid Tom Brady that you do this to, but now it's Patrick Mahomes. But like when Patrick Mahomes gets a new receiver, 99% of the time, they're just not on the same page day one. It takes them a little while to get up and going. And it's the same thing here, which I think is even more difficult because there's not a ton of set plays. You take your chances, but like when you see Latte Loth running and you see Miranchuk, he passes to the left while Latte Loth is running to the right. Like it's just going to take a little bit for them to know where they like it and where they want it. And that's what's frustrating right now.
No, I agree. I think the biggest thing though is Miranchuk. And we saw him come on later on in the season. He put together a good run of form, but I feel like we're still having the same conversations about him. Yes, maybe it'll take a little bit for that chemistry for him with Latte Lot with Almiron, but maybe he still has Saba. He's played with Saba for a while. So I guess why is that chemistry between them, I guess, to some extent? I mean, he doesn't his main target is to create goals for the striker, but you still hope that he would be farther along than he is. I mean, am I like am I reading too much into it? Am I overreacting? I don't think I am, to be honest with you guys. Hey, what do you guys think?
I don't think I agree to Tom's point where we haven't seen enough yet. And also to look on another optimist take, the chances were there. The chances were definitely there in Charlotte, in New York, in the first halves, but the chances were there. So it's not an issue of chance creation. It's an issue of finishing. And finishing is very hot or cold. And it's a very like you're in the zone or you're not. You gotta be on fire. You gotta be playing 2K and your character has to be on fire. You need that. And so like once over time the dam is gonna burst eventually.
Sure.
And like I see the comment like when Miggy scores, the energy is gonna change. And I think that's definitely the case.
Yeah.
Like Miggy had that one volley late on the second half, and the Benz was ready to just go crazy.
Yep.
Like everybody's waiting for, and I guess we thought the Montreal game was that, and obviously it wasn't. And Latte Loth had just gotten there. Latte Loth was like, we didn't know if he was going to even start or not that first game, and he's just kind of been thrown into it, and he's figuring it out as it goes. So yeah, I'd be worried if they weren't putting up shots, if they weren't getting into these dangerous positions, then I would be a little more worried. But right now, I don't think there's that much to be concerned about as far as attacking output goes.
I mean, they were. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tommy.
Well, I was going to say the other reference I talked about in Space is my favorite hockey player used to say scoring is like a bottle of ketchup. Sometimes you just go and you keep shaking and you shake it and nothing comes out. And all of a sudden, the ketchup starts flowing, the goals start flowing, and everything's fine again.
Solani said that, or
Teemu Solani, correct.
Former Duck.
See, you've known me too long. But absolutely, and that can be true, and that's been true with this team before. But I saw Doug's tweet was the first game they've been shut out back-to-back games. Was it ever?
Since 2022.
Since 2022.
Yeah.
So it's not. Look, I said this last week. I'll say it again. We watched so much shitty soccer last season, so much where you didn't have a shot on target, exactly what the Red Bulls did, and it was terrible. That first half was a ton of fun. It was just frustrating that it didn't score. And I said this about Charlotte too. Like, it's fun. This is a fun offense. I had the Miami Battered Herons Discord that I'm in. They were all tagging me going, this team looks so good. I didn't go back to respond back to them later because they probably were going to make fun of us that we drew. But they were all saying, like, Atlanta looks great. And absolutely. But there's going to be people out there, like you said, Sydney, that what they do is they look at a number. They look at a number of all these players, and they're just going to keep talking about Atlanta's offense here and the dollar values. Because they used to do, when Atlanta was struggling after 2020, you'd always hear Taylor Twellman talking about with the little graphic up of how much they spent for each of these players.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, that's coming. If MLS doesn't post it, it's going to be happening until they start scoring goals here. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. But you could tell that it's just one off. It's just so close. Like lots of that one goal. I mean, where he was sliding. I mean, that would have been a beautiful goal if he was able to get in. Matt Edwards absolutely had the opportunity with the header there, which was terrible, but he tried. So we'll give him the "You Tried" trophy. Congratulations. We just made it up. You got the participation trophy for getting a shot there. But it's coming together. And look, adding in, I think we're probably going to talk about this here in a few, but we got to talk about Mayumba. And then we also have to talk about Amador, because we were talking about who our man of the match was going to be. And we said it was either going to be one or two. And spoiler, it was those two it was like, well, which one's first and which one's second? I think we all
made our Sweetwater Brewing Company man of the match.
Exactly. I don't want to spoil it.
Hashtag ad.
But those two, I felt great about seeing them both. Like Amador looked like he hadn't missed a step, and Mayumba, this was a huge opportunity for him. Like you are trying to fight. Like Click is going to be the starter. He's coming in as a starter. But who's second behind there? Now you saw Fortune start last week in Charlotte. Then you see Mayumba start. I loved everything Mayumba did. Absolutely everything in that first half. Now, second half, people are like, but what about second half? What about the second half with any damn player on the team? I can't name anything spectacular that one of those players did. I could talk about the first half for hours. Second half, just end it. Just end the show. Play the music. I don't want to talk about it.
To your point, though, I thought Amador, we'll get back to Mulimba, of course, but Amador, he had 2 phenomenal tackles.
Spoiler! You gave the spoiler.
No. You
said we're giving it to Mayumba.
You said nobody performed in the second half. I disagree. Amador, I think it was terrific defensively. Obviously,
That's
attack, obviously from an attacking standpoint, you couldn't get really anything going except for Mosquera. He had a bad angle shot around the 75th minute. That being said, I think the Beller would have been offside anyway, so I think they ended ultimately no shots on goal. Like, if you look back, they're credited with 1, but I think it'll be taken off due to that possible offside. But, the point being, Amador, I think, put in a tremendous shift defensively, especially. If you're not scoring, at least keep the other team from scoring. I know that's kind of an elementary take, but I think he did that very well. You saw that dimension, and Dyla said he gives us a dimension that we otherwise didn't have, right? So I think you see Amador, what he can bring to the table on both sides of the pitch. Not only the attack, not only creating for strikers and the forwards in an ideal scenario, but also defensively and what he can provide there. Now, that being said, again, he has to build that chemistry with Latte Lot up top. I think once he does that, continue to build that chemistry with Saba. But once he does that, I think he'll be even better. And this team, this attack will be even better. So definitely big shout out to Amador as well.
Yeah, I'd give a shout out to Stian Gregerson as well. He had a few just perfect, like inch perfect tackles to stop some New York breakaways. Breakaways that very easily could have cost Atlanta, like very easily reminiscent of last week. Gregerson and Williams, I think, improved just head and shoulders above last week.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
Pedro Amador being fit enough to go 90 minutes, that is just hugely exciting. Hugely exciting for this team. When they need as many healthy bodies as they can get going into Cincinnati. And so I really am hopeful for the defense after that performance. They showed what they're capable of, for sure. And we'll see how they fare against the Miami team that I don't even know the last time a Miami team got shut out.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it's probably been years.
Interesting point.
But yeah, and then the midfield contributes as well, of course. Tristan Muyumba really solidifying the midfield, and helps the back line entirely when you have a midfield that can control the game like they did for the majority of that first half. I mean, that span the middle of the first half, where I think Atlanta, I don't even know what the possession stats would be for that specific part of the game, but it felt like Atlanta was just on the ball the entire time. It was Atlanta's game. And that's what fans miss. That's what fans want to see. And that's what they got in that first half. And it's just unfortunate that it didn't culminate in a goal.
Sydney, you were there. Was it quiet in the stadium?
I mean, the porch section, was obviously loud, but the 200s below us was pretty active. So did you hear it quiet when you were watching?
I saw someone, I think, respond on our Spaces chat yesterday that it was quiet. So I was just interested to see, because we heard those complaints in game one.
Yeah. It's hard to tell when you're watching on the broadcast too, because of the microphone placements and all. It doesn't really reflect maybe how it is in the stadium.
I will say it was a little bit lighter than usual. I mean, it was a little lighter because of the Hawks playing next door. So I think that kind of lessened the attendance just a little bit. But I think the crowd was, I mean, it wasn't like playoff level or like 2017, 2018 level, but it's still pretty, a little loud, pretty loud for the most part. But kind of going back to Mulimba, just quick. I I wasn't impressed with him for like the first 15 minutes or so. I think he was a little bit sloppy to start the match. Right? I think he got really stuck in the midfield. I think he made some terrific decisions on the ball, and we talked about it during the pre-match show. You, me, and Tyler Tommy. We talked about it. William Bod being under a new coach. This is his opportunity to say, "Hey, I belong in this starting 11, and I deserve a place in this team." He kind of got bounced because of the play of Jay Fortune late on in last season, and he has something to prove. He has a chip on his shoulder that he needs to prove that, hey, I deserve a place on this team. I need to give Dyla a tough time when it comes to selecting this team week in and week out. I think he, outside of a few minutes in the first half, I think he really proved himself really well. I think he really showed Dyla, hey, this is what I can do on my day. This is what I can provide. This is the type of play that I'm capable of. I think we'll need to see more of that moving forward. It's good that he was able to step in. Of course, Cleek was not 90 minutes fit yet, as he was getting over his flu symptoms. He didn't really train with the team all that much leading up to the match. But William Buff, by and large, put up a really strong performance outside of a few minutes. So I think definitely a standout performance for him. And then, like you said, Jackson, Gregerson, Williams, they were terrific. Williams had a couple of tackles in the box that would have erased or did erase a few Red Bulls opportunities. But again, that second half, guys, how many times have we talked about this? Like the third week in a row, we've talked about that second half. Why are Atlanta United not up for it in the second half? And again, they didn't concede. Red Bulls didn't score, but Atlanta didn't get but one shot on goal. It probably wasn't an offsides even if they had scored. Dyla said, I see things that show that this team can be hard to play against. Will be hard to play against in 2025. But until they put that first and second half together, put a 90-plus minute performance together, this team isn't going to win many matches in 2025. They're not going to beat Miami playing the way they played. Yes, he didn't concede. Miami, though, they'll put you to the sword if you let them. Allende, Segovia, certainly Linde, Suarez, Messi, if he plays, they have the capability to really hurt you and make you pay for your mistakes. And that's what I'm a little afraid of against Miami. Not overwhelmingly afraid, but if they aren't careful, they could, again, take a loss in their own stadium. And that's what you don't want, especially with, again, we've talked about this long road trip in the summer to the Club World Cup. You want to get as many points at home as you can. You can't afford to drop points in your own building. So hopefully against Miami, they can do just that, get all 3 points. All 3 points. Outside of all 3 points, that's a massive disappointment. I mean, would you guys agree?
Yeah. I'm not going to worry for a few more games. I need to see how this comes together. Defensively, as long as that continues to improve, then I'm not worried. Like, that's what I just wanted to make. And Brooks Lennon is available next week, so that's exciting. Now, does he start? Not sure. I would probably say doubt it. Maybe he starts in Cincinnati the following week. But you're bringing him back, and Edwards has continued to improve, I think, every game. He has those he had that moment in Charlotte, but I thought that he has looked fantastic here. So you're gaining you got a player that's continuing to develop. So you got a good backup here. I'm not worried at all. I just want to make sure that they don't allow these high scoring chances. And there were a couple runs where if the player was a little bit faster, the attacker was a little faster, they could have possibly outran Williams. I think Williams had like 2 really nice runs on breaks there. I mean, the one thing I'm like, he was flying down there. I was like, there's no way he gets to this ball at all.
I joked with Tyler on one of those runs he made in the second half. It's probably one of the longest runs he's had in his career. Williams.
Yeah. I mean, he's run that. Kyle Pitts hasn't run that far in an entire season. So what did Derek Williams ran just on that one play? But it's gotten better. They're able to. I mean, they want to attack. They want to hold possession. There are going to be counters. I thought that they were pretty much able to catch up to everything, all the counters that did happen. So I am not worried about it. we said week 1, there was some goals that should not have happened. Week 2, it was individual mistakes. There really wasn't any glaring mistakes here. It seemed like everything calmed down. They were able to recover everything, especially in that first half. They had the ball. They immediately got it back. I mean, they're really good at getting that ball back real quick and regaining possession. I'm not worried at all here. And
Yeah, I
people are going to
wouldn't
freak out,
worry.
though. Sorry. I was going to say, people are
Yeah.
going to freak out.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
that is sports. That is sports. That's what's going to happen. People are going to freak out. Especially I would always say, if somebody just starts trash talking Atlanta United right now, I think I said this in Spaces, I bet you they didn't watch the game. Like, I don't know for people that have watched the game where they're just saying that this team's bad. But I've seen people tweet what's going on with Atlanta United, and I'm 99% that almost everyone that tweets that did not watch the game. They're just looking they're just looking at the stats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be afraid, or if I was a team, I would still be afraid to play Atlanta United. I don't think there's any reason to think that playing this team means that they're gonna, roll over and fold. I mean, you've got a stretch coming up into next month of like 3 straight home games against, see, it's New York City, Dallas, and New England.
Yeah.
If you're not getting results by then we have an issue.
Right.
But right now in this gauntlet of games, I mean, with an international break thrown in the middle of it, it's hard to take concrete stances on the team when they're going through all of these completely different games contextually. Players coming back from injury. Obviously you need to score goals eventually. If you're not scoring goals within the next, like, getting shut out, 3-4 games in a row, that's very telling. But
Yeah.
right now, I guess it's also a very good Red Bulls team. I mean, you can't discredit the Red Bulls or Charlotte at all. These are teams people are predicting. We're predicting preseason to be, top 5 in the league. I mean, definitely playoff teams. So once you're seeing kind of quality of opponents go down and you're still getting these same results, then maybe it's a systemic issue within the team. But as of right now, I mean, with Miami, I guess you're Miami's bogey team, so take that for what it's worth. But I mean, you can never take these super concrete stances when playing these top teams yet.
Yeah. And I'll kind of push back on a little bit what you said, Jackson. Red Bulls are a good team. They're not an elite team in MLS, I don't think. I think they brought
missing Lewis Morgan and and Harper, I think.
Yeah. Those are key players that are missing, of course. But they brought in, you mentioned Choupo-Moting from Bayern Munich the off season, but they've always had that. Last year, you notice they had that missing piece. What's that missing piece of the puzzle that will make them truly an elite team? Sure, they got to MLS Cup last season, but you got the sense that they weren't truly an elite team, especially when stacked up against the Galaxy. So I think they're finding themselves in 2024. I think they'll still be finding themselves just a little bit in 2025 as things go on, at least up till the summer window. But yeah, like you said, not the worst start, not the best start either. They lost to Cincinnati. They beat Nashville. So I think they have the ability to score. They have the ability to make things happen in their attack. I think, yes, credit to Atlanta United for not allowing a goal and not, ultimately dropping a match against a team that traditionally have been tough to play against. That being said, second half, again, just one shot on goal, probably no shots on goal. And I want to tie that up with Dyla's comments. He said maybe we play a little bit too direct. They're looking to make too many long passes up the field. He said we're trying to win the game with one pass. You say, look, we need to slow things down. We need to settle down. Don't just play hero ball. I mean, that's sort of a football reference, Tommy. I'm sure you'll appreciate that. But don't play hero ball. Settle things down. He likes to play on the wings. Maybe he's not doing that as much with Amador having been injured and Lennon still being injured, but he likes to play on the wings. He likes to do that build up on the wings. I think Amador is tailor-made for that system, considering the pace he has on the left. Lennon, same thing, the way he can deliver balls into the box. Tailor-made for Dyla's system. So I think once you get Amador 90 minutes fit, I mean, not that he isn't already, once you get him back going, once you get Lennon, as we mentioned, back in the fold, this team, I think, maybe will start clicking as they start to continue to take on the identity of Dyla. Old habits are hard to break. There's still some little bit of Pineda ball, I guess, in them. And that's going to take a while to get flesh out of the system. But at the same time, going back to Dyla's point, don't try to just bomb balls up the field and try to make things happen that way. If you need to slow the match down, do that. Don't over-rely on it, right? But take some steps to slow the ball down, slow the pace down just a little bit, be a little bit more deliberate, not to a point where you're boring fans, but try to be more precise, because he said, we were losing the ball all over the place during the match. Gotta take care of the ball. Don't go long unless you need to. If you see a player like Latte Lot, if you see a player like him going upfield, yeah, absolutely try it, but don't just try it again and again, because teams definitely will get wise to it eventually.
They were throwing Hail Marys in the first 10 minutes. It was just like, please let Julio Jones be somewhere out there in the midfield to catch that ball. Like, that's what it felt like. And you talked to, Tyler was saying that they were trying at practice very specific things, and I think you saw it. I mean, the press was just not working for the Red Bulls early on, and getting that ball back and then just being able to attack, it was Uno reverse card. It was just all Atlanta, and it was exciting. But you said everybody has, start gaining what Ronnie's like. If they all come out wearing turtleneck sweaters, then we know that they all went full Ronnie. You don't go full Ronnie without the turtleneck. How is that comfortable? How
right.
And the thing where, like,
he makes it work,
probably sweats. No, like, when you sweat, like, you already get, like, people get neck sweat, but then you got extra. You got a whole layer of cloth to give you more sweat on your neck. No,
right.
Absolutely not, Ronnie. We gotta help him out. He looks like a Bond villain. Like, he's not the final villain, but he's like the guy that's like second to him, that's gonna get taken out like right before he's like the second boss.
In command. Yeah. Do you kind of agree with what he was saying though about?
Oh yeah, I forgot what we were talking about. I only took you say more like Ronnie. I was like, oh, turtlenecks.
Good observation though.
No, I agree with you. We asked Mo on Wednesday, like, when does this start becoming your identity? Or we asked him when we should be concerned. He said, when it starts becoming their identity. And while it was better, we're still going into Sunday going, oh, damn it, it's the second half. Like, while you're going to the bathroom, if you can even get into the bathroom at the Benz, or you're at home and obviously you can't get into the bathroom right away, you're sitting in the bathroom or whatever you're doing, standing, whatever your thing is, and you're just going, oh God, 45 minutes. What is about to happen?
Yeah.
And that's what's scary right now. And it wasn't so much last year, because last year it was just pretty bad in general for a lot of the season. But It was before. It was like, okay, you score a goal. Guess what? You're going to immediately concede.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Well, we knew it was going to happen all the time. Or and then the year before that, it was like, you're going to allow a goal in the first 10 minutes. And it's going to be very consistent. You're going to allow that. This is it. It's the second half. And it's bad, because that's half the game. That's half the game that you're worrying about this team right now. And everyone that is worrying, I mean, you shouldn't have to talk them down, because it's legit. It's a legit thing. It's not something that, people are overreacting about. It's just this team can't play very well in the second half.
I've seen some overreactions, but like you said, that's sports.
But it's worth it. But like, I guess the goal scoring, I don't think we haven't heard anything. We haven't heard any Brad Guzan talk.
No, here's what we did hear. Here's what we did hear. Something along the lines of Almiron's the problem. I'm glad after 3 matches you can figure that out.
If anybody wants to talk about Almiron, you need me to talk him down. I'll give you my cell phone number, and we'll have a conversation.
Right.
We will talk about that. I with the offense, you could see that there's a concept of a plan, right? You could see that what they're trying to do, it's just the ball's not going in. With the second half, though, I don't think people are overreacting because it's been sloppy. It's just giving the ball back. Like all of a sudden, the crisp passing is gone. It's like they're taking the opposite of the Michael Jordan juice and whatever Space Jam.
Space Jam.
It's
the first one.
It's so confusing because like I said, with the scoring, I could just be like, yeah, guys, you could see that it's about to happen. But with the second half, I don't know. Like while it was a little bit better, it was still the same problems. But like you said, I think earlier, like when Miami comes to town, that might screw you in there. So what are we going to look for here? And obviously, it's have a legit first half so that you can go into the second half going, we have a little bit of room for mistakes, but we're up a goal. We're up.
Yep.
And now we need to defend. And this team looked really good at defending this week. Hopefully you can get that goal in the first half to just make everybody kind of take a sigh, like just a sigh of relief going, all right, we are up now. Now let's hold it and then go from there. Like if we win 1-0 would just be perfect for me. Like that just shows.
Well, some will be happy with 1-0, to be honest with you.
That's fine. Whatever. I want 3.
At least it's 3 points, though.
Right. You need 3 points. And I do. I think that you need 3 points. And I think it's just for a confidence level for this team as well. When you saw this team play Miami in the playoffs, even in that game 1 where they lost, they put them to their limit in that game 1. That built confidence with this team. Absolutely, Miami has to be that confidence booster for this team moving forward. And I know they're going to win this game. I know they are going to win this game because Atlanta United, for the past few years, the game before they all leave for international break, they always win the game. And we go, momentum is gone. It's gone. We gain momentum. We did it against Columbus.
Yeah.
Last year, right before the break, we ended up upsetting Columbus, and then you go on break, and then you come back and like, oh, did we beat Columbus a month ago?
Right.
Like they're gonna beat Miami. I absolutely know.
Guaranteed.
Because that's how sports. I'm not
Guaranteed.
betting my beard.
Battered Herons is recording this right now as we speak. I know it.
Screw you, Danny.
Bulletin board
Screw
material.
You, I'm gonna tell them that
Podcast wars.
I got my whole calendar of what times I'm hanging out with those guys this week. But this is the game that needs to push this team forward and show that they're all getting it together. Just real quick, just random topic. Does Latte Lath go on international break as well?
I think so. I think they have. I think they have World Cup qualifying Ivory Coast, so I think he'll be part of that. Zaha's going too. So, and Bamba from Chicago, I believe so. Yeah.
All right. Wasn't sure about that. Well, thanks for ruining my Sunday, Sydney.
Sorry.
On the subpar Sunday.
Subpar Sunday.
It's not somber. It's not spectacular. It's just subpar. When you get a draw, it's subpar.
Right. No.
Oh, Jason already wants predictions of the Miami match.
Well,
Jason, that's Wednesday. We can't jump too far ahead. I know we're talking about
Not ready
Miami.
yet.
Yeah.
No, but Jackson, me and you, we called the draw.
Yeah, we got that draw.
We got the point.
I mean, maybe not
points.
clean sheets. Maybe not scoreless draw, but it was a draw.
Let me ask you guys this though, and we're getting some comments in the chat about it. Almiron and Moranchuk, how they played together. Of course, Almiron when he was here was a number 10, and Moranchuk is that number 10 right now. And seeing a lot of comments in the chat and mentioned yesterday too that they're often occupying the same spots on the pitch. Sort of what we saw with Barco and I think Moreno to some extent. That's another thing that Dyla has to solve. Do you put Almiron at the number 10 and just move Alexi to the wing? Or you have to figure out.
I'm partial to the idea of moving Alexi to the midfield almost and playing more of that.
Deeper in midfield?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because he is very content letting the play flow through him as kind of maybe more of an 8, more of an advanced midfield role. Now, with the depth you already have right there, I don't know if that's the way to put your most talented 11 on the field, but if there's a way to keep him within that central channel flowing through, and then Miguel can tuck inside and have the room to operate that he needs to go on one of those ball glued to his foot dribbles that he's prone to do.
Right.
I'm partial to that. I mean, Ronnie Dyla probably isn't, but if I was playing Football Manager right now, I'd throw him in there and see how it goes. And maybe that space that creates enough openings to really use the speed that this team is full of. I don't know. What do y'all think about that?
I think it could work. Right now, I don't want to. I think these two have to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think that they do. I mean, you saw, in Saba and wow, I'm blanking out from last year. They were switching sides consistently. Yeah. Was it? He was hurt. Who was the other winger last year?
Mascara.
But he didn't. I don't know. Well, whoever it was, whatever terrible
Mystery
other
winger.
winger that it was at the time, like they were able to switch, and maybe they start playing off each other and being able to figure it out a little bit here in the next couple weeks. I don't know. I just don't want them changing anything right now. I think what they're doing is working. It's just finishing. It's just finishing is the problem there. But again, though, a lot of it is just them missing the pass by just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's that pass, that last pass to spring someone is there. There was even the one where I think it was like it was like a 2-on-1, Almiron and I forget who. And if all he had to do was complete the pass and guy was gone. I don't remember exactly who it was, but I think like it was on the right side of the field and they were sprinting, and if he just could have made that pass, it would have been amazing. And it was just slightly off and the ball went out of bounds.
Yeah, but devil's advocate, I mean, just real quick. I mean, you saw that last year. Just that one little pass that Atlanta needed to make. I feel like,
but there was no talent on this team last year.
No, I was gonna say,
there was no talent on the wing besides.
I was gonna say, I feel a lot better about this year. Yeah. For that reason alone, I think it's just chemistry. I don't think it's talent. I think it's just chemistry. But the question is, like, how long will it take? And you can't really waste too many more matches waiting for these players to get things clicking. I think they will. I'm really optimistic. I really feel they will. But I mean, we're saying Miami. Miami will be a really good opportunity for them to make that happen, to finally get things clicking. Dyla said, I see things that tell me that will be tough to play against. It's just a matter, again, putting those together.
I can't say that word because Tyler went from being sick to drinking.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yup. Word.
Correct.
Correct. Indeed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Pull up the thesaurus.
Yeah, exactly.
So we came up with that the Sweetwater player of the game was Tristan Mayumba, and then I was happy to see that he got to do the golden spike at the end. I think he earned it.
Yeah,
for sure. Amador again was all three of our second place votes.
Yeah.
Click probably starts against Miami, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I said that. So. Drink, Tyler. And now I'm gonna make him. Go.
Mm.
But it Click on Sunday.
I think so. I mean, you have
I would
to
imagine
he'll train with the team. I mean, after being out, obviously with flu, so I don't imagine he starts. I think you missed him against Red Bulls. You missed his.
Did you miss him against the Red Bulls?
I think you did to some extent. I feel like, yes, Muyumba was really good, but I feel like you have that more of an offensive bit of dimension that Click can provide, that he's more advanced in some areas than Muyumba is. But it's good that you have Muyumba able to step in on his day and be a good option for this team. I think maybe if Click plays, I think maybe you win. I don't know. Of course, we'll never find out. But
Who's to
you,
say?
you disagree? You disagree?
I don't
Maybe.
think I don't think he would have been the
Maybe.
difference.
Maybe not in
on
his
it.
condition as he was not entirely fit. A full fitness Click. I don't know, because like you had such great midfield performances in the last two games. I mean, after Charlotte, we were talking about how good of a job Jay Fortune did, and still the result wasn't there. So maybe it's not as much of a make or break thing to have Mateus Click in there as one might imagine from a technically designated player.
Another player he needs to develop that chemistry, with his teammates. I mean, he's kind of behind the 8 ball, isn't he? He played the season opener, of course. This all Charlotte came out for the final 15 minutes against Red Bull. So maybe he's another player that needs to kind of continue to train with the team, continue to play with the team, get that chemistry, learn the tendencies of his teammates before he's able to become the player that Atlanta United hope he can be, that he was to some extent with DC. So maybe if he's fully fit, maybe in another dimension, I think he is a bit of a difference maker for Atlanta, I think.
Cindy, what are you drinking?
Yes, disagree. I'm drinking a smoothie, a protein smoothie.
Is it chocolate?
Spinach. I think it's chocolate.
Chocolate spinach?
No, not chocolate spinach.
Oh.
A chocolate protein shake with spinach and blueberry. That's what I'm drinking.
Well, I saw the comment here.
It's not Nesquik. Tyler commented, "Is it Nesquik?" It was not Nesquik. It's a smoothie.
Do you make your chocolate milk? Jackson, you look like you're a chocolate milk person. I think it's the beer. Do you make it with like the Nesquik, or do you use it with the Hershey syrup?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm a Hershey syrup kind of person, real quick.
I think it goes to the Hershey syrup. I mean, that's the classic.
Thank you.
What do you do, Sam?
Oh, I'm not taking that powder and making it liquid.
The Swiss Miss powder.
Oh, hot chocolate's that's a
different game.
That's a different food group completely. Like there's certain just things that you just got to put in their own thing. And chocolate milk is my favorite thing. I finish every night off.
Yes.
Before sleep with a glass of chocolate milk. That's how you end a night as a 42-year-old.
Right. Bruno in the chat saying Milo, which I grew up with.
What is Milo?
My guy it's
I don't know that.
Essentially a Caribbean kind of drink, chocolate drink.
I know Ovaltine.
Ovaltine. Grandma used to order Ovaltine. It was disgusting. She's like, but they talk about it in the Christmas story. Screw the Christmas story. I am not drinking Ovaltine. It's like a few things that just really piss me off, and Ovaltine is one of them.
All right. Well, with our chocolate milk takes on the way, we should do a Patreon episode talking about chocolate milk.
Look, when it's a 0-0 draw and you have one of the first half that has everything to talk about, and the second half nobody wants to talk about. It's an easy 53-minute show here.
Yeah.
Because like nobody wants to talk about the second half because it's like just copy paste what we said last week and put it in here. Just subtract the part where they scored 2 goals. And you're done. Like that's sum it up. And the first half was the same damn thing too. Chance, nothing.
Well,
it's only week 3.
Hopefully we have something to. Hopefully we have more to talk about next week against Miami. Hopefully goals. Hopefully goals scored by Atlanta. By the way, not Miami. Not Miami. Any final thoughts?
This hood has a hook on the top of it. It's like I got a unicorn horn. Sorry. I think it's the first time I've worn this hoodie.
Yeah.
I guess to direct it back on track.
Thank you. My bad.
All good. I think you can start to pinpoint a trend of the second halves showing Atlanta's lack of composure. If I'm going to try to pinpoint a root cause, a lack of composure and focus in these second halves after your chances don't go in, I think that they are losing that patience that you have in that first half with another 45 60 minutes to go in the game. You're carrying that patience with you, and then as these chances don't go in, you're getting more and more frustrated. I mean, I think fans and players are alike in that regard. I think you're just getting more and more frustrated. Why isn't this working?
Yeah.
And so then it's like, well, guess we got to go try the Hail Marys and just start bombing it down the field, and then that turns into an even worse product. So hopefully moving forward, we see improvement in that regard of a second half with that same focus, perseverance, patience, whatever you want to call it, to in the build up, in the attack, in those creative moments that can create those same amount of chances and quality of chances that you get in those first halves.
Tommy, do you have a closing thought to leave us with? Parting thought, I should say.
Still thinking about that damn Ovaltine.
More Ovaltine, please.
No, never more. I'm very interested to see what happens after this week. There has to be something involved. And Bruno put in the chat earlier how Atlanta United all of a sudden turned it on last season, every game in the final 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They might have played terrible 75. All of a sudden, they look like the Harlem Globetrotters in the last 15. And you're like, where is this team? And that's why I said early in the year when Ronnie was talking about, getting the team fit, I was thinking to myself, like, well, is it just because they just really didn't do much for 75 minutes and all of a sudden they just turned the battery on and decided to run? Or was it that they were well conditioned last season? I don't know what is happening here, but they're not even really gaining it back at the end. Like I know Miamba ended up scoring that goal to get the game winner in game one.
Yeah.
But still, it didn't look great towards the end. I mean, they could have technically. I mean, they obviously had some opportunities, and Montreal did in game one. Game two, I mean, they had Atlanta had a couple opportunities, but the game was kind of already over by that point. You're already down 2-0 late. Something's got to work out. I still don't know if I believe that they're not worn down a little bit already to start the season. Like, I don't like how Ronnie just said there's no way it's that they're tired. When you talk about it though, and you bring it up, and I didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
You brought it up. Now I'm starting not to believe you.
Well, believe me. Are you calling me a liar?
Look, Ronnie wants to come on here and talk about it. I mean, he's the one that's been bringing up about the conditioning there, because he even brought it up before the Charlotte match that they gave him the day off, or did a light day. I think it was on Wednesday before that
they
match.
Had completely hard training sessions in that week in that build up, and he's like, oh, maybe I pushed them a little too hard there. Maybe you have a point there with the training sessions being a little too intense for the players to then be 100% going into the match.
Could be. They could fix that. I mean,
he's not a rookie coach. So you figure he would know that. I mean, he's been around forever and he's done multiple teams. Like, he knows he's got to know when he runs players into the ground. And he mentioned it, but then after, then he immediately says after, he's like, well, I know that it's definitely that they weren't tired. Why do you keep bringing this up? But that's what I said earlier. Is it mental? Is it mental exhaustion? Is it physical exhaustion? What is it that makes them turn off? And the question's going to get asked 100 times. Like, he's going to get sick of answering this question. Unfortunately, until this team starts showing anything different, that Doug's going to ask. Doug's got it second half tattooed onto his hand, so he never forgets to ask them about the second half. But I mean, that should be the first question every post game if this is what's going to continue to happen. How do you fix the second half?
And just quickly on that quote about you can't be fatigued. He's talking about, they just came out of the locker room, so they can't be tired already on that day. So I think that's what he was talking about, just to add some context to that quote. But I think the larger point is, again, he wants to see what he saw in the first 40 minutes applied to the entire 90 minutes. I think, again, once this team learns to do that, whether it's chemistry, whether it's fitness, whether it's fatigue, whatever, once this team learns how to do this, I agree, they'll be tough to play against. So hopefully against Miami, we see 90 minutes of football. Sweetwater player of the game again, Tristan Muyimba. Go to sweetwaterbrew.com for information on Sweetwater Brewing Company.
And
I think we're done.
Bruno's comment there, as kind of a last thing. Bruno's comment there about Latte Loth getting the classic trademark using on Sucker Punch. I think now he's officially a member of Atlanta United.
Welcome to
now
Atlanta.
Now he has the chemistry.
The latest victim.
The
Guzan
punch.
I'm glad
he's going to go score a hat trick against Miami now.
Exactly. That's all he needed. Same with Amador. That's all he needed. Well, what you got? One last thing, Tommy?
One last rant?
One extra day. We get one extra day of rest. Miami has to play on Thursday.
This is
That's
true.
true.
We'll preview it. We'll have to. We'll preview it on Wednesday and probably talk about it a little bit tomorrow too. But you get an extra day to rest. They've got that game on Thursday. Now they're already up 2-0. So we'll see if Messi plays, or are they saving him for Atlanta? I don't know. If that game becomes 2-1, they're on the road. You don't know what happens.
Goal makes it easy though.
We shall see. Scarvesandspikes.com for our latest Atlanta United coverage. Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. Again, thanks to Sweetwater Brewing Company for their support of Scarves and Spikes. Go to sweetwaterbrew.com for more information on their products and their brews, as well as Sweetwater 420 Fest, April 18th to the 20th at Pullman.
Cypress Hills going to be there.
Cypress Hills. That is a name I haven't heard in a while.
That's what I said when I saw because I wanted to see who was playing there, and that was like the first band. I was like, "Oh, Cypress Hill."
Interesting. And the lineup's all on sweetwaterbrew.com. Cypress Hill and a bunch of other great bands, I'm sure.
Real quick. Omar says Asaba getting traded. No.
No.
Hot seat too early. Wait,
no.
Too early. The oven's just getting preheated at this point. We can't turn it off.
We have plenty of time to talk about that stuff later on in the week.
Too early.
Too early. Way too early. All right. I think that's it. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss Sunday night baseball. Like, I like Sunday night soccer. And by the way, I bet on Peck to score a goal today. That guy had more opportunities than Atlanta United did yesterday. Like, the guy just kept having opportunity after opportunity.
How did
Never
that game
betting
end up,
on
by the
Peck
way?
again. I think it was 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah.
St. Louis.
What's going on in LA? They got more questions than Atlanta.
Injuries, mainly.
Nobody cares when we have injuries. Did I quiet you with that? Nobody.
No. MLS Deep State.
Right.
I didn't look to see if MLS Moves posted that Latte Laugh milk carton again. I'll have to go.
Yeah.
Is it a chocolate milk carton?
Oh, man. I love chocolate milk.
Carton of Ovaltine?
No, I hate it. All right. End the music. I'm going to go get my